Hello and welcome to Inside Edition to discuss national, regional and international issues in depth. In 1919, it marked the beginning of the modern public school system in Bahrain when Al-Hidayah Al-Khalifiyya School for Boys was opened in Muharraq Governorate. Since that year, the establishment of the formal education system is witnessing fundamental development steps which led to the current remarkable success of education in the kingdom. Recently, Bahrain has celebrated its centenary of formal education with outstanding achievements and ambitious future plans, proceeding in the path of being a regional pioneer in the education field, especially during the current circumstances of the coronavirus spread, as students continue their studies without any delay according to highest learning and teaching standards. To know more about that, we are pleased to be joined here in the studio by Ms. Emma Janahi, Bahrain Polytechnic's Academic Development Director. Welcome back. Joining us here in the studio is Ms. Emma Janahi. Thank you very much for being with us today. So when we talked about it in the introduction, and we've covered it in the news here in Bahrain television, but tell us, why is this centennial inauguration or this centennial celebration so important for Bahrain's national memory?
First, let me thank you, Sarah, for giving me the opportunity to participate and be part in this program. Regarding the celebration of 1 century of formal education, I would say Bahrain is always known to consider education to be the main contributor to the economic, social and political development. And if you would go to regional and international reports, you would see, for example, in the GCC Education Report 2015, we've scored high, ranked high in terms of our quality education. And nonetheless, Bahraini citizens are considered to be national assets. So working on developing the people was something that Bahrain focused on for ages now. Yeah. And I would say personally that this milestone is somehow a reminder, to us that we've achieved so far, and to all of us, not just the people who are actually in education sector, to all of us, we have to continue this success.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many successes that have come after each other, but let's talk specifically in 2004, His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa inaugurated the Schools of the Future project, and he also introduced the concept of e-learning. And moreover, it is known that Bahrain Polytechnic focuses on technology, given it's one of the employability skills required by the market. Tell us more about the importance of this initiative and how do you value it, and also in light of the current situation, it really did help.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, by looking at our history and the number of the reform, educational reform initiatives, and I'm not just focusing on the 2008 educational reform initiatives, I would say that continuous evaluation, review, and improvement became part of us. So this is what we do, and I think I would speak better to what we've done and implemented at Bahrain Polytechnic. Technology, since the establishment of the institution, was part of our mandate, because we are expected to be agile, we are expected to respond to the needs of the market, and since our economy also is based on the knowledge-based economy, so that means we have to incorporate technology. So that was adopted early on in our strategy, and we incorporated e-learning, virtual learning, blended learning, and many other tools to manage the requirements and be more agile.
In my many years covering for Bahrain television news and programs, I was very lucky to go to some of the hackathons that have been at Polytechnic. And it always amazes me the different ideas that the students come up with and the level of support that the faculty gives these students.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about how that empowers students in the technological field?
Well, as I said, and you mentioned that Bahrain Polytechnic actually considers technology, the use of technology and the application of technology as one of its main employability skills.
Yeah.
And that has been identified early on since the establishment, and actually embedded in our offerings, our curriculum, of which it is expected that most or all our students and graduates should be comfortable in using technology, so that they will be given the right tools for lifelong learning.
Right. One of the really important parts of the future of any institutions is the compilability with the SDGs, or being part or fulfilling some of the SDGs. So how does Bahrain Polytechnic contribute to achieving the international 2030 Sustainable Development SDGs?
Now, for sure, we are actually complying with the 4th Sustainable Development Goal, which is mandated to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education for all learners, and to equip them with the right skills and tools to be lifelong learners. Right. And this is what we do at the Polytechnic.
And when it comes to educating students on the SDGs, is that something also that the Polytechnic values, and how does it execute them?
Yeah, actually those are embedded in our qualifications and programs, and it is the trend that internationally followed, that SDGs should be incorporated in academic programs, since they are meant to maintain and sustain life for coming generations.
Yeah. Well, do you value the international recognition of Bahrain's achievements in the educational field, especially being one of the leading institutions in that field?
Of course, and I think that we are on the map already and recognized regionally and internationally, given that Bahrain is not just focusing at education as such, is also focusing on the quality of the educational system. And as I mentioned, that we've been recognized being one of the highly ranked countries that offering quality education. This is also after the establishment of the Education and Training Quality Assurance and the Higher Education Council. So those bodies, which are regulatory in nature, they are trying their level best to maintain our education system at the right standards.
Yes. A lot of people always get confused when it comes with the associations between local universities and international universities or international institutions because of accreditation and so on. Yeah. That's something that Bahrain really follows up on, making sure that their educational institutions are accredited worldwide, so their students, once graduated, do find work elsewhere. What does the field in Bahrain, what does the work field in Bahrain need when it comes to graduates or recent graduates?
Well, first let me focus on the first bit of your question. That yes, of course, Bahrain needs to move as other countries and focus on the international standards when it comes to accreditation. That's not only just to be recognized and to have some sort of marketing badge. It's mainly to help our graduates to progress when they want to move from level to another. For example, graduates from bachelor degrees can progress to masters once their programs are accredited, and that will help them to process this progression.
When it comes to Bahrain's labor market, what are the most needed specialties when it comes to graduates right now?
Well, what we do at the Polytechnic is that we maintain our engagement with who we call them the industry partners. Yeah. Okay. So we have this continuous non-stop dialogue with them to identify the needs of the market and through curriculum advisory group meetings, through one-to-one thematic meetings, and we try to understand exactly what does the market need, but it's a bit difficult.
Yeah.
However, we try our level best to meet those needs and demands by offering the right qualifications and programs for the market, and we try, as I said at the beginning, to be agile and responsive. So our programs and courses, let's say, they go through continuous change.
Yeah.
Almost every semester.
That's amazing, actually. Another thing that Polytechnic or Bahrain Polytechnic places great importance is to apply the technical education in order to prepare work-ready graduates who, how do you nurture that to meet your requirements?
As per our mandate, our mission, that to produce or to prepare graduates with the right qualifications, with the right applied and professional skills to meet the 21st century skills and the market demand. Bahrain Polytechnic have managed to adopt many systems and practices to maintain that, such as the opportunities, the learning opportunities that we offer through curricular and co-curricular strands. In the curricular strand, you would see that we are actually focusing on certain teaching and learning methodologies, such as problem-based learning, project-based learning, e-learning, work-integrated learning, where actually students are in continuous engagement with industry and labor market. We are providing the right support and with providing training, workshops, enhancing and developing their employability skills, providing them the right career advices, and through competitions and other activities.
Ms. Emma, recently the Industry Porter platform was introduced to the Bahraini society. What can you tell us about the services and the benefits of this portal?
Well, actually, we are so proud for launching this portal, which is the industry portal. And I still remember the two students who actually developed this portal, Wala and Hussein, because I was the client. So they act as consultancy agents, and they were actually asking me, the client, what exactly I need. So our need is mainly to have the right platform, one platform that connects students, graduates, employers, and staff, where they can communicate together. And this is for the sake of identifying jobs or finding jobs, finding workplace opportunities, project opportunities for final year students, and so on.
That's vast. I mean, the number of individuals that are on that program is big. So the coding in it must have been something really massive and took a lot of work.
And still they are actually upgrading the platform. And let's hope that we can incorporate many other features in it.
Inshallah, that sounds amazing. Well, since its establishment, Bahrain Polytechnic is keen to honor and support outstanding students. What are the exerted efforts in this regard, and how do you value the outcomes of such supports?
In terms of fairness, actually Bahrain Polytechnic provide its services to all students, not just the outstanding students. And on the contrary, that Bahrain Polytechnic actually identifies those who are struggling, and provide the right programs and remedial interventions to support them, those who are students at risk. And through many programs, such as the Past Leaders program, the Library Learning Center, their academic and career advisors, and so on. For those who are actually, let's say, excelling, we are trying to nurture those skills that they have, and many of them, they've achieved let's say, good achievements on a national, regional, and international arenas.
Yes. When we come to the time that we're living in right now, the spread of the coronavirus recently, we've seen this vast movement from schools, universities, Polytechnic, and other universities and colleges that went into the e-learning part or bit in order to enhance the education of the students and not let them feel that there's any kind of gap between being on campus and being off campus online. What can you tell us about the e-learning experience at Polytechnic students?
Let me say, when we first faced the fact that we have to shift to remote learning, okay, entirely.
Right.
It happened all of a sudden.
It did.
I wouldn't say that we struggled. In fact, what we've done is we've kept many scenarios, of which, because most of us were not sure when we are going to return and when the suspension will stop.
Right.
So we were fine because at the Polytechnic, as I said earlier, technology is part of our strategy, and testing tools, platforms, programs, systems is part of what we do every day.
Right.
Therefore, when we've asked to shift entirely to e-learning and virtual learning, we actually were ready. We tested a tool called the Big Blue Button tool, and it took us almost a year now that we've went through the testing of that tool, and we were comfortable to use it, beside the Microsoft Teams that used by all. Yeah.
So you were already prepared once the actual orders came out to stop all on-campus education.
Yes, but I would say the process of bring everyone at the same speed, academic staff members, students, communicating the whole plan, that took us time. Obviously. But to shift wasn't a worry or stress.
Obviously. One thing that I really liked when I went on the website of Polytechnic is that they also provided some educational courses for anybody that can people can just go in and see these courses. And that was really interesting for me, because you do have a lot of people that are sitting right now at home and they want to do something more creative. And on the Polytechnic website, there are these free courses. How did the idea for that establish, or where do you think it came from?
Many international higher education institutions are let's say those who are comfortable using e-learning, okay, they've offered help to the community. And during those difficult times, I think that's our societal duty to provide that kind of help. And as part of our community initiative, we thought that since we are somehow comfortable and we can provide some sort of advice, help, and we can coach people in terms of subject contents, what to do during those times, parents how to manage their kids while studying remotely, and so on. So we thought about launching this initiative.
Yeah, it's amazing. Preparing the workforce and assuring the quality of your offerings are two of Bahrain Polytechnic's main goals. Tell us more about that.
Okay, Bahrain Polytechnic from early on focused on 5 main strategic goals.
All right.
2 of them are, the first one is assurance of learning, and the second one is graduate reputation. Now we call it graduate success. Okay. To steer our practices, our processes, policies, and procedures, we've done, we actually kept that goal, which is assurance of learning, as a core to us. So we've created the right infrastructure, or let's say the right learning environment for our students to nurture their learning through, as I said, many approaches. And we've developed many policies, such as the teaching and learning policy, the assessment and moderation, and so on, to maintain that kind of or that level of quality in our offerings.
That's amazing. After more than a decade of dedicated efforts, how does Bahrain Polytechnic maintain learners' assurance of learning?
Bahrain Polytechnic developed and implemented employability learners framework that focuses on, as I said earlier, learning opportunities and assurance of learning. And we maintain assurance of learning through direct and indirect approaches. The direct approaches is could be through the assessments, exams, tests, projects, let's say reflective journals, and indirect approaches through the feedback that we receive from our alumni, students, employers, employees, and so on.
Yeah. We've almost come to the end of the show. Before we end, I'd really like to know about Polytechnic's outreach program and basically their cooperations with global educational parties. Tell us more about those.
Okay, as I said, in this competitive world, all higher education institutions should build bridges with other entities, international entities, and that will help in the progression of their students from place to another. So accreditations by international entities, benchmarking with those entities, and let's say collaboration in terms of research and student exchange, faculty exchange is a must for all entities. We don't live in a world by our own, so therefore we have to be at that stage and trying to maintain the standards of our offerings. And I would say that even at the level of embedding some of international professional certifications, also let's say being accredited by our programs, being accredited by those international bodies.
Right. We're in a difficult time, as we mentioned before, but everybody's holding together in order to get this educational process ongoing and finish it up. A word from you to Polytechnic students or to the community at this time now?
Well, I think so far we are doing fine, and we will continue following our path to achieve, or let's say to maintain and prosper our mission. Our students are actually our pride. Let me say the one who prepared me for this interview is one of our Bahrain Polytechnic graduates. Her name is Zainab. Okay, I was so proud to know that our students, our graduates are working in different fields in Bahrain. So we will try to maintain that, and we will try to aspire to become better, inshallah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming today and answering our questions.
Welcome.
And thank you, dear viewers, for being with us in another episode of Inside Edition. We'll see you next week with a new one.